Hello everyone, my name is Kieran and welcome back to yet another Manchester United match preview, and it is Manchester United versus Bournemouth on Saturday evening. It's a game that, well, all games now, as you guys will know, we have to win, and I was going to say it's a big test, but the way Bournemouth have been playing, it shouldn't really be too much of a test for us, and especially if we have all our players fit, which I'll get to in just a second, then we should be able to do the job. But I just want to say welcome to Red Devil Studio. Thanks for joining, G. Really appreciate it. Make sure you check out his channel if you aren't already. Really, really good stuff on there. But make sure you leave a like as well and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And we're going to get straight into this. And G has obviously said it's fake, mate. At least there's no official word, and Ole didn't give the word himself. Obviously, yeah. I want to touch on the main title of this live stream, which is of course the fact that Bruno and Pogba, the story has come out about them today or this afternoon, that they had a clash in training. They kind of, I don't even know, it didn't even say what it was. They just kind of collided apparently in training, and apparently they were both doubts for the game tomorrow. Well, basically it seems like that is absolute nonsense, and to be honest with you, the fact that it was reported by the Mirror, and the Express and these sort of papers usually suggest that the story doesn't have too much weight to it. Obviously, it's not 100% confirmed bullshit, but I feel that realistically we can safely say this story isn't correct. Liam, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining. He goes with a 3-0 prediction to United with Greenwood, Rashford and Bruno scoring. Listen, I think if we've got Bruno and Pogba in the team, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Bournemouth. It's going to be a very long afternoon for them, hopefully, of course. But Bournemouth, we'll get into them in just a second, but they do have a lot of motivation going to Old Trafford, even though there isn't any fans or any away fans to help them. They've got a lot of motivation because they are really in a bad spot right now. I think if we were to beat them and the likes of West Ham and teams around them were to get results, it would mean they would be in an even worse position than they already are right now. So they've got a lot of motivation to win this game, and especially getting one over on Manchester United. Bournemouth haven't actually been able to win at Old Trafford. I'm not sure if they've ever won in their history at Old Trafford, but I think obviously they won't have our home fans to contend with, which, to be honest with you, in games like these are usually quite quiet. And I'm not saying that to be controversial. It's true, let's be honest. I mean, if it's not a big game, then Old Trafford isn't exactly rocking. So that's the bottom line with it, and I feel that that's one thing that Bournemouth do have in their favour. However, of course, they're on a really poor run of form. They don't have Callum Wilson because he was suspended, so it's going to be difficult for them. It is going to be difficult. We obviously lost to them earlier in the season away from home, and that was a really poor performance. One of the poorest performances I've seen from Manchester United this season, and there have been quite a few of them. And actually quite a few of them against teams that are probably going to get relegated, or even teams that are just going to avoid relegation, of the likes of, Burnley and Newcastle. And if we don't get top 4, those are the sort of games that we're going to have to look back on. Those are the sort of games. But I digress from that. Obviously, Bournemouth are going to be up for it, and they're going to make it difficult. They've got some decent players, but I think ultimately we're just going to have, in games behind closed doors, it's usually your squad versus their squad, and it's just about who's, obviously you don't have that fan advantage, so it's just about who's better on the day. And the way we're playing right now, we should be much better than Bournemouth. They got absolutely slapped by Newcastle as well, 4-1 at home. If we don't beat Bournemouth, I'm sorry. It's an absolute disgrace. I'm not saying that I'm ruling them out straight away, but because they could turn up, and as I said, they're going to be really motivated to get something out of this game. But if we don't beat Bournemouth, that is a problem. That is a real problem, especially with the team with our strongest team and the way we're playing right now. Dazza, welcome to the stream, mate. Thanks for joining. Make sure to check out his channel if you're on the races. I don't think the thing about Pogba and Bruno is true. I agree, mate. I don't think it's true either. I don't think it's true. Obviously, the story broke about a few hours ago, and as I said before, it was broken by the Mirror, which isn't exactly the most valuable news source in the world. Or isn't revered to be the most valuable news source. It does get some stuff right, does get some stuff wrong, but I think a lot of people, in terms of football stuff as well, when it comes to these sort of stories, they're not the most reliable newspaper. Cheers for something to Red Devil Studio. I'm sure you'll appreciate that. Dada says, I don't normally swear. I'm sorry, but this shows how big the game is tomorrow. Yeah, don't worry about swearing, Dads. Don't worry about it, mate. But yeah, it is a very, very important thing. Very, very important thing. Important game, I should say. Like, the fact that we're in the position right now where we're 2 points off top 4, we're 3 points off third, which means that depending on what Leicester and Chelsea do, we could potentially be in third place. Actually, no, I think goal difference might be a factor. So I don't know. I think we can definitely be in fourth place before Chelsea play. I think Leicester's goal difference is superior to ours. So I think we probably wouldn't be able to get third place even if they lost. It depends how much they lost by, of course. But I don't think third place is going to be achievable after this game. But if we win and Leicester and Chelsea drop points, that's massive for us, because not only are we in the top 4, but we're then level on points with third place. And it'll mean that top 4 is really in our hands. Obviously, it's in our hands already, but top 4 is really in our hands if we get favourable results and we win this game. And let's face it, to get top 4, you have to be consistent. And we're performing consistently right now, but we've got to keep up for these next kind of 6 or 7 games in the season. And that could potentially be difficult, especially when you've got the likes of the FA Cup semi-final and potentially the final, and also the Europa League competitions as well. So it's not going to be all plain sailing. Dad says the mirror are worse than the sun, mate. Yeah, and that's saying something. That is saying something. Liam says, do you give mods on your channel, or you ain't considering mods? I don't usually have mods, to be honest, Liam, just because I've had mods before on the channel, and there are still mods on the channel, but they don't really appear too much. But that's fine. Don't worry about that. But obviously, I don't have like loads and loads of viewers in the live chat, so to be honest with you, I don't really need too much moderation. I like to keep it quite organic. I like for you guys to say what you guys are actually thinking. So I don't like too much moderation. I like people to be able to express their opinions freely. And you guys are a good bunch of people. You're not hurtful or anything. You don't say anything really mean to anyone, so I don't need to. Welcome, Krishna. Thanks for joining, man. Really appreciate it. Long time no see. Hope you're doing well, Krishna, especially in these difficult times. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Daza says, Wolves play Chelsea last day of the season, so that's a big one for us. That could be the deciding day, yeah. And we play Leicester as well, so that could be another deciding factor. It seems like it's all gearing up for a final day bit of drama. I hope it doesn't, because obviously we want to get the job done before the final day. I can't be sitting there on the final day needing a win and other results to go our way to get top 4. That would just be, I just could not deal with that. But hopefully we get the job done early. Hopefully we go in there and if we win the rest of our games at the end of the season, we will get top 4. That's simple as that. Simple as that. So yeah, I'm hopeful, and I think obviously I agree with you guys. I don't see too much. I don't see these Pogba and Fernandes rumours being true. I think if they were true, you'd see a lot more stories about them. You see a lot more kind of mainstream newspapers and TV stations running the story. So I think it's a bit tenuous to say the least. And also, I saw this thing on Twitter where there was an article posted by a satirical football news Facebook page which had the same thing about it. So I think ultimately, I don't think it's real. Brother Gaming, how you doing? Thanks for joining. He says, I don't know why people are worried, to be honest. We look a much better team with Bruno and Pogba in the team, and they've been the fabric for our entire play during a good run. So you say that, but you don't know why people were worried? Oh, I'm not sure what you mean there, to be fair, because if you're trying to say that we look better with Bruno and Pogba out of the team, then you are mistaken, my friend. You are mistaken. Okay, apparently they put out a tweet saying it's fake. All right, fair enough. Okay, well, I guess I should change my title then, to be honest. But anyway, yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised the mirror got done. I'm really not surprised. Dazza says, agree, Kieran. We can't be putting more pressure on ourselves, because at the end of the day, if United don't get top 4, then they only have themselves to blame. Yeah, Daryl. Listen, as I said, if we don't get top 4, the results we're going to be looking back on the end of the season on the Newcastle result, Burnley at home, I don't know, other results like, I don't know, other ones that come to mind. The Spurs one, obviously, we probably should have won that game, the first game after the restart, where obviously we made that mistake at the back and De Gea made his mistake as well. So, these sort of little chances in games, little games where we should have got the 3 points and we only got a point, or even games we've lost. Wolves at the start of the season, Pogba missing that penalty, that could come back to haunt us. I hope it doesn't, but it could. Christian says Bruno is on top form and look at Pogba and Matic. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Listen, I don't know what Brother King is getting at with that tweet. I'm not sure why you'd say that we look better with Pogba and Bruno out of the team. But, I guess everyone's got their own opinion. But back to the game at hand, and we're going to talk about Manchester United at this point. Now, obviously, it's good news that there's no injury concerns, except obviously Phil Jones and Axel Tuanzebe not being in the side. But Solskjaer did say that there would be changes, and in some ways, I'm a bit intrigued to see what these changes are. Even though I don't think we should make that many changes, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's easy motto. But I don't think we should be making too many changes. However, there are a few changes which I would like to see. I would like to see Eric Bailly get a start. I'd like to see Bailly starting instead of Lindelof. I think whilst Lindelof hasn't been the worst player since the restart, I think Bailly for me is a better centre-back, and I want to see that Maguire and Bailly partnership. A partnership that got us quite a few clean sheets when it was active. I want to see that. Brandon Williams could come in for Luke Shaw as well, could potentially happen. Dan James could start over Mason Greenwood. That would be the one that I'd be slightly sceptical about, especially because Greenwood is in really good form. I'm not saying James is a bad player, but I think with the front players, we should not mess with that. It seems to be working. We've scored 3 goals without reply in our last 2 Premier League games with that front 3. I don't think we should change it, in my opinion. Big O just walked past. Dazzle says Bellingham went to Dortmund probably due to Champions League football. Well, that might help us in the Jadon Sancho deal. You never know. Obviously, Jude Bellingham reportedly was on our books. Reportedly, we were going for him. But if it does seem like he's being confirmed by Dortmund to go there, maybe that was a trade-off. Maybe that was a little trade-off. You never know. Maybe Man United said, you know what? We'll let you have Jude Bellingham if you give us Jadon Sancho for a reduced price. Who knows? Who knows what could have gone on? Those sort of deals happen all the time, I'm sure, in this kind of increased sports business world that we live in right now. So I would not be surprised if that sort of deal occurred. Krishna says Greenwood showing things how it's done like a boss. Exactly. I mean, that goal against Brighton, we've seen that, countless times already this season. And what's almost a scary thing about Mason Greenwood is he's only 18 years old. He turns 19 this year. He's only 18 years old. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm right about that, but anyway, he's 18 years old. That's the main thing, and he's doing those sort of things. Him and Phil Foden as well. I've got to give props to Phil Foden, even though he's a Man City player. I've got to give props to Foden. He is a quality young talent. England's future is looking sewn up right now. It really is. TTX, thanks for joining. He says, even if we change the starting 11, that's basically saying you don't want to be consistent. Yeah, listen, I don't think there should be too many changes. Obviously, Solskjaer has come out and said there will be a few changes, obviously due to fatigue and things like that. And you can kind of understand it with the fact there's been games coming thick and fast. But for me, I don't think we should change too much. And I've just before you came in, TTX, I went through a few changes that I would be happy with if he made them, or at least I'd be content with. I agree with you, mate. I think we should keep it the same. But Ollie has come out and said there will be a few changes, so we've got to expect that. And I said I wouldn't mind Eric Bailly coming in for Victor Lindelof, and I said I wouldn't mind someone like Brandon Williams coming in. And the only one I'd be a bit sceptical of, and I can see potentially happening, is Greenwood being sidelined for Dan James. And I mean, I'll get on to Dan James because he is a very interesting player at the moment. A lot of discussion in the Manchester United ranks surrounding Daniel James right now. He's a very interesting player to talk about because we signed him from Swansea for a pittance, really, if you're talking our terms, and if you're looking at what we've paid for players in the past. And some of the stuff he's done this season has been very, very good. With his performance against Liverpool, for example. Southampton, he scored a really good goal, and he has contributed to this team over the course of the season. However, in that game against Brighton, you can't deny that there were a few opportunities where he could have got a goal for himself, and his decision-making let him down. And that was not the first time we've seen that this season. The one thing I'll give Daniel James is the fact that we have to remember he wasn't brought in to start every game. And at the start of the season, that's basically what he was doing. When Rashford got injured and when Martial got injured, he was having to be brought in and played pretty well every game. And that's not what he was brought in to do. He was brought in to be part of the squad and be used when needed. And you can argue that's the role he's played this season. But for me, I don't see why he should be playing week in, week out, when realistically he's just come from the Championship, and he's got a lot of time. He's got a lot of time left in his career to improve. And I think what Solskjaer was thinking by bringing Dan James in is that we're going to slowly blood him into the team. He'll have some Premier League experience under his belt after his first season, and he'll be able to improve alongside the likes of Rashford, Martial, Pogba, these guys that have done it before, and also Agallo as well, who's got a lot of experience as a forward player. So I think that was the initial thinking, but when injuries come, it's very hard to deal with. TTX will say Dan James is awful. He doesn't offer anything going forward other than pace. He lacks intelligence and key decision making. And I think, looking at that Brighton game, it's hard to argue with that. It is hard to argue with what you said there, TTX. But I'm willing to give Dan James time. I'm willing to give him more time. You can't just judge someone who's just come from the Championship for a pittance after a season. I don't think you can judge him. Obviously, you can look at his performance and you kind of analyse it a bit, but I think, I don't want to be too harsh after only a season, especially when this is his first season in Premier League football. And I think he could potentially be a really good part of our squad depth going forward, and even, breaking into the first team. But as we're playing right now, he doesn't really have a place. Greenwood is playing some brilliant football right now, and I don't think James has deserved to knock Greenwood out of that spot. Martial, of course, is playing decently. Rashford as well. I mean, Rashford, his form is a bit worrying. I feel like he's a confidence player, so as soon as he gets that goal, he'll be fine. As soon as he scores, he'll be absolutely fine, I'm sure of it. So for me, I think Rashford, obviously he's not in the best of form now, but I'm not too worried that he's going to stay like that for a while. I think if he bags, he'll get back to the form that we saw before his injury. But yeah, Dan James is going to find it difficult to break into that squad. However, I still think that I don't see why he shouldn't be happy with substitute appearances, considering I don't think he realised that when he signed from Swansea, he was going to be playing week in, week out. I don't even think he expected that. So I think we need to kind of chill out a little bit on Dan James. Obviously, I don't think at the moment he's a Manchester United starter. I don't think he has the quality to be a Manchester United starter. I don't. However, I do feel that that he will improve, and he could potentially become a very, very good player for this club and a very important player for this club. Welcome BMO Swifty, thanks for joining BMO, really appreciate it. He says, if the news is true about Bruno and Pogba, I'll hide. Yeah, look, thankfully it's been proven false. Thankfully, just in the last kind of few 5 to 10 minutes, it has been proven false, which is great news, obviously. But yeah, I'm really happy about that, because I would have hit as well. I mean, without Bruno and Pogba, let's be honest, we are screwed. We are done. It's curtains for our team. And that is something that we're going to have to address going forward in the transfer window. We've got to be stronger. But at the same time, yeah, Bruno and... I mean, it just didn't sound true that Bruno and Pogba, both get injured. And not only that, but they're both injured by each other. They both get injured because of each other. Like, that was the bit that just seemed a bit too far-fetched. And the fact that there's loads of hype surrounding them at the moment, it did seem a bit far-fetched. And to be fair, the Mirror got absolutely done on that. Absolutely done. Eddie Million, sorry. How are you doing, Eddie? Welcome to the stream, mate. He says, really? Well, yeah, listen. Obviously, this is about the news of Pogba and Bruno. Hopefully, obviously, it's been proven false. It has been proven false in the last kind of 5 to 10 minutes, which is fantastic news for us. It really is fantastic news. But it was a bit worrying. I'm not going to lie. When you first see that story, it's not the nicest thing to see on your timeline. But don't worry, Eddie. It's proven wrong. Welcome, Imo Hersey. Thanks for joining once again. Really appreciate it, my friend. He says, "Why? What a title! No Pogba, no Bruno. Like it. Wait a minute, McSauce and Fred. Oh, mate. Imagine that. Imagine that would have been your worst nightmare. That would have been your absolute worst nightmare, seeing McTominay and Fred play together. And listen, I think." Fred and McTominay are going to have to, step up and be, good squad players. And I think what they've shown in a Manchester United shirt, I think they are very, very good backup options. But as of right now, what the midfield we're playing is faultless. We're just playing so well, and we're so solid. So I'm so glad they're not injured, mate. So glad. Welcome, Football Crew Show. Thanks for joining, mate. I really appreciate it. This evening, mate. Looking forward to the match this weekend. I cannot see Pogba Bruno being injured. I think the media is spreading lies. Well, as I said, they have just come out and proven that it's not true, that they've been done by a bit of social media fakery. On Facebook, apparently. Apparently, there's some sort of satirical football page which put out a story that put out this story, and basically the Mirror fell for it, hook, line and sinker. And even the Express, even an actual journalist, a professional journalist from the Express, tweeted it out. Now, that's not going to be good for them. That is not going to be good for his career. The fact that he's a professional journalist with a tick next to his name. He's verified, and he tweeted that out as if it was true. That's not going to be good for his career. It's not going to be good for his career. But that's none of my business. But yeah, don't worry. It's not true. It's not true. Apparently, the Mirror have even put out a statement saying that what they said it wasn't true, and they've been a victim of a wind-up apparently. So that's fine. That's fine. It's all fine. Don't worry, Eddie. Don't worry about it, Eddie. But anyway, I'm going to give you my predicted lineup for the game now. I think it's only right that we got this far into the stream and I haven't given my predicted lineup yet, so I will do that. And my lineup does have Pogba and Bruno Fernandes in it, so don't worry about that. But for me, there's no changes except for Eric Bailly coming in for Victor Lindelof. That's the only change I can see happening in this team. So I'm going to go with Eric Bailly coming in for Victor Lindelof, and we play De Gea. We play a 4-3-3. De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Eric Bailly and Luke Shaw, and then we play Pogba, Fernandes and Matic, and Greenwood, Martial and Rashford, and I don't see any other changes apart from that. There's obviously a few other players that I wouldn't be dissatisfied if they came into the team, like Brandon Williams. But for me, I feel like that's probably the team we're going to go with. Even though Solskjaer says there's going to be a few changes, I think at max there's going to be 2 changes. I think he would have a lot of the fan bases. Well, I think a lot of the fan base wouldn't be too happy if they saw Dan James starting or if they saw McTominay starting. I think, especially when we're going for top 4, we need to be really consistent, and that means playing our best team week in, week out, and getting the 3 points in the bag. And the more changes you make, obviously you want to make use of our squad depth. That's 100% true, especially when games are coming thick and fast. But for me, I think there won't be too many changes except for Eric Bailly coming in for Victor Lindelof. Saeed, how you doing, Saeed? Thanks for joining, appreciate it. He says, what is your prediction? Well, you know what? I'll give my score prediction now as well. And you guys right now in the live chat, get your score predictions in the live chat. I want to see what you guys are thinking going into this game. Are you confident? Are you a bit nervous? Let me know your thoughts and let me know your score predictions in the live chat right now. But I'm going to give my score prediction for the game, and I am confident. I think the way we played against Brighton, the way we played since the restart really, with Pogba, Bruno and Matic in that midfield, I don't see Bournemouth winning this game. I don't see them getting a point. I think we're going to win, and I think it's going to be a comfortable win. I'm going to say it. I think it's going to be a 3-1 victory to Manchester United. There is a possibility that Bournemouth could score because they have got a few players that not only are decent going forward, but have stung us in the past. Obviously, Josh King as well, who there's a bit of a storyline there, considering the fact that he didn't get his January move to Manchester United. Obviously, you went with Odi Nagalo instead of Josh King, and also the fact that Bournemouth didn't really let Josh King go as well. But I think Bournemouth might score, which would be really annoying considering we've had a really good run of keeping clean sheets and not conceding too many goals as well. So hopefully it's 3-0, but I'm thinking 3-1. Box, thanks for joining, Box. Appreciate it as always. He goes with a 2-0 win to Manchester United. Love it. Saeed goes with a 4-0 win to Manchester United. Mo Hersey goes with a 5-0 win to Manchester United. I'm loving the confidence. I'm loving the confidence right now in the live chat. Yeah, 5-0 win sounds about right to me. As I said, I'm going with 3-1. I'm confident as well. I'm very, very confident in our ability. I think if you saw the way Bournemouth played against Newcastle, they were crap. They were absolutely shocking. They really were shocking. And also, they've had less time to prepare and recover for this game than we have, because we played on Tuesday. I think Bournemouth played on the Wednesday or the Thursday, one of those days. So Bournemouth are going to have less time to recover, and I think it could be difficult for them. They haven't got a good record coming to Old Trafford either, so it's going to be difficult. Box says another clean sheet would be good. Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. We need that clean sheet. Just for the fact that it's proving all the doubters wrong about our defence, saying it's shaky. We've only conceded one in our last. Since the restart, we've only conceded 2 goals in all competitions. We have only played 4 games, but we've only conceded 2 goals out of our first 4 games, and our defence is looking fairly decent. It's looking all right. I'm a Hersey says Rash 2, Pogba Bruno 2, and Martial 1. Love that. And 2 more for the Pogba and Bruno FC. Rashford, I mean, listen, Rashford as well, as I said earlier in the stream, if Rashford could bag tomorrow, that would be huge for his confidence. And I think this is the sort of game that he could do it. I thought he would do it against Norwich, and he didn't. But this is the sort of game which I could see Rashford potentially getting a goal. I really could. And as I said, he's a confidence player. He needs to score, and I'm really hoping he can. Because, I like Rashford, and obviously the way he's playing right now isn't the best. It's not the best. But his passing game isn't bad. He's assisted 2 or 3 goals already this season. So he's or since the restart, I should say. So his passing game's fine, but his finishing is just not there right now. And we need him to get that radar back on and to get that ruthless streak back into his shot. Saeed says, I always upload United highlights or videos. Well, yeah, make sure you check out Saeed's channel. Make sure you check it out. I'll definitely check it out after the stream, Saeed. But guys, I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Please do leave a like if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I'm hoping I'll be coming back to you tomorrow evening with a smile on our faces, and a smile on my face as well, and 3 points in the bag, because if we win that game against Bournemouth, we will go into the top 4 for the time being, of course. Whether Chelsea win their game or not, who knows? But a win will take us into the top 4. That's absolutely massive, and it's critical that we win this game. But guys, that's going to be it for me from this evening. That's going to be it from me for this evening. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.